I think it will be incredibly helpful, and I think it may even shape how we do creativity and business and work and life in the future. Welcome to the Creative Mindset Podcast. My name is Isolde Trachtenberg, and I'm super happy you're here. On the show, I focus on creative thinking, problem solving, and living. Most often, I'll discuss how to ignite inspiration, meet challenges, and achieve goals through creative thinking. Sometimes I'll have guests who give their perspective. Usually, it's people who are already living their best and most creative lives. Okay, let's get to it. Hello, and welcome to the Creative Mindset Podcast. My name is Isolde Trachtenberg, and I am thrilled that you are here. Today, I want to talk about something that I'm doing a lot of thinking about, and that is, first of all, how do you get done what you want to get done, particularly if you're supposed to be working with other people, right? Sometimes your work ethic, your work style melds really well with the people you're supposed to be working with, and sometimes it just doesn't. So then how do you figure out the best way to work with people when the styles don't really mesh that well? For example, what if you are super punctual and they're a little bit more free with their time? Or what if you're the one who's free with their time and the other people on your team are a little bit more, hey, we were supposed to start at 10, let's start at 10 and make that work. Especially right now during this time of self-isolation, we're in a position that we have to sort of figure that out for ourselves, because I know, for example, I myself have been sleeping a lot more than I've slept in probably decades. And that means that, frankly, I'm just not getting as much done. And that's a really interesting thought, isn't it? It's like, okay, wait a minute. Have I been trying to get too much done all this time? And if you talk to my husband, he would say, yeah. In fact, he's said on several occasions that on my tombstone, he's going to put down, there's just so much to do. And actually, he wouldn't be wrong, because I say that a lot. But yeah, I have slowed down some. I'm sleeping more. I'm taking a little bit more time with my meditation in the morning. And in part, it's because there's no one else specifically whose schedule I have to satisfy. I have to satisfy my own schedule, and I drive myself pretty hard. But because I'm not trying to schedule myself according to anyone else's time and timelines and time frames, I'm finding that I take a little bit more care with how I do things, and I'm finding that it's okay for me to take a little bit longer to get things done. For example, it's actually really interesting. I have a mentor, and he's fabulous. He's helping me with some of the marketing aspects of my environmental education arm of what I do, and he gave me an assignment to edit. He had me basically brainstorm a whole bunch of stuff so that I could figure out my marketing. And then he said, okay, now you have to edit it. Okay. As a writer, I'm a writer. I'm not honestly the greatest editor. And what's really funny is I can edit somebody else's stuff, but it's really hard for me to edit my own. I just have to admit it. It's a challenge. And I actually told him that. And I said, I'm going to try really hard to get it done this coming week, but this is going to be really hard for me, and I know it's going to be really hard for me, so I'm really sorry if I can't get it done by Wednesday. And he laughed. He said, you know what? Take your time. Do it right. Do it better. Do it so that it's satisfying to you. You don't have to get everything done right now. And I thought to myself, oh, you don't know me very well. Of course I have to get everything done right now. But actually, I don't. And it's easier for me a little bit to step back and figure out what is the best way of doing what it is I need to do, and do it a little bit more methodically, because brainstorming is easy. I can come up with 42,000 ideas. It's the editing, the part where you have to get more practical and more analytical of all the things that you sort of blorked out on paper or on the screen. Once you have to get into that space of editing, of being more analytical and more painstaking in what you're doing, that takes more time, at least it does for me. And I was still operating under the impression that because I had Arthur and his schedule to work with, that I needed to get everything done right now. And he went, no, you don't. Right now is a time for you to dig really deep and figure out for yourself exactly what you're going to need in order to make this project that you're trying to do a success. He said, you know why you're doing this. You're doing this because you want to help kids learn to be good stewards of the planet and all the critters who live on the planet. I said, yes, absolutely. And he goes, great. Do you think that you can do that in 2 hours? Do you think you can figure that out in 2 hours? And I said, no. And he goes, okay, then chill out. He actually didn't say chill out, but that's really... He's too elegant to do that. But he did say, hang on, take your time, make it so that you've gone really in depth and figured out for yourself exactly what you want to say, and then we can meet and we can talk. So this has me wondering if the time frames that I've been following, that probably we've all been following, have been too strict. Maybe it's okay not to give yourself crazy deadlines. And maybe out of this crazy, in many ways, awful time of enforced stay-at-homeness, I know that's not a word, but I'm going with it, but maybe as a result, an outcome, if you will, of this time will be that things slow down a little bit. Maybe we've been squeezing ourselves so hard to get so many things done so quickly that now, because we've sort of been forced into a stay-at-home situation, maybe things will slow down. Maybe it will be a little bit easier to breathe as you get some of this stuff done. So I know that there are many of us who are first responders and medical personnel and essential workers, and as always, I send all of the gratitude in the world to you. And yet, I do want to say that if you have the breath, the room, the space to take a little bit more time with your tasks, whether it's writing the great American novel or doing the dishes or learning an instrument or spending time with your kids, take a breath. Take the time you need to get things done. And it feels so good to go, you know what? If I don't get this done when I said I'd get it done, he's given me the room. My mentor has given me the room and the space to go, okay, I need a little more time so that I can do a really good job, so that I can go really deep. I'm used to going a mile wide. Now he's asking me to go a mile deep in exactly what I'm trying to do and exactly what I'm trying to accomplish and achieve with helping kids learn how to be good stewards of the planet as they become tomorrow's leaders and tomorrow's decision makers. And I'm doing the same thing with companies, right? I'm working towards going into companies more and organizations more and helping them build goodwill with their customers and clients by doing this kind of programming there. So it's really cool and it's really exciting and I love it. And some of this is new, and that came out of the brainstorming sessions that I've been doing, but I haven't quite gotten a whole handle on exactly what my vibe is going to be about all this. So I need to take the time, and having someone like Arthur in my corner going, hey, hold on, take the time you need, breathe, it's very freeing. And I have to wonder if from now on, even after the stay-at-home orders are rescinded and we're getting back to our regularly scheduled lives, if we're all going to want and maybe even demand extra time to get things really in depth, to get things really honest and authentic and real and from the depths of our own spirits and hearts. And there's nothing wrong with that. So if you're worried about all the things you have not done, I'm going to ask you to take a breath and take another, and then go deep and figure out what going deep into what you love really means to you. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode because I think it's an important aspect of what we're facing right now, this idea of taking extra space, not just for yourself, but for your thoughts and your feelings. I think it will be incredibly helpful, and I think it may even shape how we do creativity and business and work and life in the future. If you've enjoyed today's episode, I would love to hear from you. I would love it if you'd leave a review of the podcast wherever it is you listen to it. It would mean the world to me to hear what your thoughts are. Until next time, this is Isolde Trachtenberg for the Creative Mindset Podcast, and I send you all of my love. So let's get to it. Thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you being here. Please subscribe to the podcast if you're new, and please tell your friends about the community we're building here. Today's episode was produced by Isolde Trachtenberg and is copyright Isolde Trachtenberg 2019. Today's music was from Kevin MacLeod, Laser Groove, and Ave Marimba, brought to you by Creative Commons License 3.0. As always, please remember this is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Past performance does not guarantee future results, although we can always hope. Until next time, I send you all of my love.